beaucoup, Madame, d'avoir été si concise. Je donne la parole tout de suite à l'intervenant.
Thank you for being so concise. Let me give the floor without any further ado to the next speaker, Mr. Frimston. If you could kindly present your organisation.
Yes. Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. I'm very grateful to you for inviting me today. I wanted briefly to talk about my practical experience in the United Kingdom and from that reach two conclusions. Capacity is a very complex issue because it's not really a separate legal classification, so that for many different acts, different levels of capacity are required. So capacity to enter into a contract is governed by the law of the contract. Under the succession regulation, the capacity to make a will be governed by the law that governs the succession. So different laws play different parts. The Hague Convention is a really wonderful addition to private international law in this sphere, and it deals with measures of protection. So it enables the usual rules about jurisdiction, applicable law, and recognition and enforcement to apply to measures of protection. In addition, it also sets out rules for applicable law in relation to powers of representation, as Philippe has said, forms of powers of attorney. And in the UK, Scotland has ratified, the UK has ratified the Convention for Scotland, but sadly not yet done so for England and Wales. But internally we have the same form of law, and we've had a number of cases that have looked at the impact of the Convention in this area, and they've been extremely helpful. I would, however, perhaps pick up from Philippe the fact that a Hague Convention, as has been mentioned before in relation to road traffic accidents, is not subject to the jurisdiction of the European Court. And in this area, I think a European regulation really is required. The ability to have powers of attorney that work throughout the European Union is currently very difficult. As has been said in relation to other instruments, you can't really have the recognition of a power of attorney. Can you have the acceptance of a power of attorney? We're not quite sure what we mean by acceptance. But the practical problems one has in Europe at the moment with powers of attorney is they may be valid, but actually demonstrating to the relevant authority in the other jurisdiction that the power is valid is extremely difficult. And that's why I would urge the committee and national parliaments, please, to do all that we can to ensure that as many member states as possible ratify this convention. It's extremely useful. I would almost say it's sexy. But in addition to that, I do think we should be asking the Commission to look at a regulation and certainly consider the idea of a European power of representation that could be used by adults throughout the European Union. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur. Donc,
Thank you very much. So that was we will now hear for the last